Welcome to our weekly power session. Today we have Kim Stone, a mother of two and founder of Undercover Mum. Kim coaches, mentors and helps working mums make time for everything that matters to them so they can experience success and deep satisfaction on their terms at home and at work. Hi Kim.
Hi Claire.
Hi, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's fabulous to finally chat to you over video. So today Kim's going to be running through with us some 3 tips on how to be or how to have a guilt-free working life, which I feel is really important because I know for myself when I returned to work, well, I set up my own business, still I was working, I had the guilt. And that's absolutely not a lie. So I am sure that about 80% of mums going back to work have that mummy guilt.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. There's always something that you can find to be guilty about as well as a mum.
Yeah.
And I think it's about that feeling of being torn between, 2 things that are really important to you, or maybe even more than 2 things. So, being torn through, wanting to have the work and the career and also, being a good mum. Everyone wants to be a good mum. So, yeah. No,
yeah, absolutely. I think at those points you kind of, like I said, I know myself as well, like you feel, am I being a bad mum by working? And then when you're not working, it's like, am I being a bad mum because I'm not working? It's like a catch-22.
Yeah, it's very easy to second guess yourself, and I guess that's partly what guilt is. It's about second guessing your choices, and when things are not going well, that's when I find that it's when the guilt creeps in. When you have a tearful daycare drop off, you think, oh, am I doing the right thing by putting them in daycare? Yeah. But then when you have an easy daycare drop off, you don't feel guilty. You're like, oh, awesome, and you get on with your day. So.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. So what 3 amazing tips have you got for us? Because I think all of us need help.
So the first tip is to be in the moment. So a lot of people that I talk to about their mummy guilt talk about, so when they're spending time with their kids, they're thinking about things that they think they should be doing in the future. So they're thinking about the household chores, or they're thinking about work. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the moment when you're spending time with your children, I mean, it applies to everything, not just, but this is just an example. So if you're in the moment, it is much harder to feel that guilt. And much harder to feel that you should be doing something else. And the same when you're at work, when you're focused and you're at work and you're not thinking about your kids, which I know is not easy, but, if you're happy with the daycare arrangement or whatever you've got going on and you know that your kids are being taken care of, then you can focus on work when you're at work. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the first tip.
Yeah.
So it's about being in the moment, being present in the moment. The second tip is actually about practicing. So I know for myself that I feel the mummy guilt when I do something like go out at night with a friend, and it's something that I haven't done in months. And the more I do it, the more I practice it, the easier it gets and the less guilty I feel about leaving the kids at home with their dad, who is very capable of looking after them. I still feel guilty going out, but the more I practice it, and that's with everything gets easier with practice. Yeah.
I think that's probably something that I know I myself need to work on, because I don't think I have been out in on my own with friends in about a year and a half.
Yeah. So the first time
because it's all too hard. It's too hard to see them cry if I'm not there for bedtime, or it's too hard to think that daddy has to deal with the drama, and it's just too hard. So I just don't even bother. It sounds terrible. I'm like your typical client.
And does your husband go out?
He used to a lot more every now and again. It's mainly work occasions that he does.
So I bet he doesn't feel guilty going out.
Oh gosh, no, he travels for work and everything. No. No, it's different though. We've sat down and discussed this, and he's like, don't feel guilty about it. But it's not. I actually think it's more the fact that I miss them and I don't want to be away from them. Like I'm total, mum. Just, yeah, and I think that's because I work so much that if there is spare time, I just want to spend it with the kids. So, yeah, I don't know. But no, he does. He does go out. Yeah.
Well, that probably leads on to my third tip, actually, which is about letting go of expectations. So you might not feel as comfortable going out if you have an expectation that they will want you at bedtime or not cope without you. And sometimes these expectations are real, and sometimes we build them up in our heads. So, we think, I do this. I think worst case sometimes, not all the time. I can be very optimistic, but when it comes to my kids, sometimes I do think about, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're thinking, the worst that can happen when I go out with my friends is that they're going to be inconsolable, and, my husband's going to be wishing that I was there to look after them, then it does make it harder to have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does. It does. But it's got to change, obviously. And I think it does. I think, like you say, once you're there, like once you're out or you're there or you're doing the thing that you want to do, like at work, and you're kind of focused on what you're doing, that kind of disappears. It's almost like the journey to the destination that you want to go to. That's the bit that's kind of like a bit of a bumpy road. So no, those are fabulous tips. They're really, really good tips. And I think, like I said, I would say, statistically about 80% of mums, I know all my friends go through it, like every single one of them.
I would say it's probably higher than that, honestly, and some people feel it, and then, like for daycare drop-off, it gets easier. I know it did for me. It took a bit of time. And then, it can surprise you too. Like, you might be having a good patch there with the daycare drop-offs, and then something changes and the child's upset, and it can surprise you out of nowhere. I
think for me, what helps is that as you would, you do with your clients is, you go through your why. And, I have my business why, and then I have like my family why, and they sit above my PC. I always talk about that. They always sit above and when I do feel like, I'm sitting here an extra hour working when I should actually be, playing with the children, Hoppers 5 or whatever it may be, I just look at that. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it. Move on. I just haven't got to that. That's all the work side. I haven't got to like the actual, like, enjoying a night out side. I should probably put that up as well.
That should go on your wish list for next year. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm like, instead of going for a night out, I think I've banked up like a weekend away to like a yoga retreat or something.
Ooh, even better.
That's kind of what I'm aiming for. I'm obviously going quite big, but I'll probably last like half an hour away from them.
And it's also, like you were saying, bedtime is really special to you. So maybe going out at night isn't that important to you, and that's okay too. Like, you don't have to feel guilty about not going out if you do other things that you enjoy doing. Like, you might go out to lunch, and you might be more comfortable doing other things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for that.
Well, I hope it's helpful.
I think it's going to be incredibly helpful.
And I think it comes down to really practice, that being in the moment, but really practicing that. Yeah.
What would you say, just from your experience working with your clients that are kind of returning to a corporate life, let's say, for instance, just using an example, what would you say, like, the common challenge that everyone's facing about this mummy guilt? Like, is it, I suppose, is it kind of confidence, or is it just the unknown, like they've never left their children before? What kind of, do you see like a common theme?
Yeah, I'd say both of those things. What I think is that it's about confidence, and when you're doing something new that you've never done before, your confidence drops. So when you're returning to work, that's a really common time when your confidence drops, because you've never been a working mum before. And that's really normal. And some people hide it better than others, but everybody feels it, absolutely. And any time that you're trying to do something new, even if you are, you might have been very confident in the workplace before you became a mum, but anytime you try to do something new, you will experience that dip in confidence, which is okay, because once you practice, your confidence will come back.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for being on the show, and I'm sure we will hear from you again. And what I'll be doing is obviously sending, those 3 tips out to as many mums as we can contact, and spreading that message, because I think that's really important. I do think that mummy guilt's probably not talked about as much, and I do think that it does stop a lot of people, and not just entrepreneurs, but mums going back to office life, and I think that does, or even mums going for interviews for jobs, especially. I think that sort of confidence and that mummy guilt does hold them back when they're highly skilled and highly talented, and they deserve the best for themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think mummy guilt in some ways is something that too many people accept as, oh, well, this is just the way it is. I'm going to feel guilty about working and being a mum.
Yeah.
And we don't talk enough about overcoming it. So you don't have to accept. You can accept it as a normal part, but you don't have to accept it as an ongoing feeling.
Yeah.
It is something that you can overcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening, and we'll speak to you soon.
You too. Thanks, Claire.
Cheers, Kim. Bye.
Bye.